Michael Thompson, 52, sat alone at the small oak table in his Ohio kitchen. The clock on the wall ticked softly just past 6 on a Saturday morning. Steam curled from his coffee mug, but his eyes looked heavier than they should have after a full night's sleep. He rubbed the back of his neck, thinking about the doctor's visit earlier that week. Your cholesterol is creeping up, Michael. Nothing alarming yet, but you should start paying closer attention to what you eat, the doctor had said with a firm but gentle tone. Linda, his wife, was still asleep upstairs, and the house felt unusually quiet. On the counter sat a half-opened bag of mixed nuts he had grabbed from the grocery store last night. For years he had trusted those little snacks as a healthy habit. But now, with the doctor's warning echoing in his head, Michael wasn't so sure. He picked up the bag, stared at the shiny label promising Heart-Smart Energy, and felt a twinge of doubt. Michael tore the seal of the bag and poured a small handful onto the table. Cashews, pistachios, macadamias, and walnuts rolled across the wood like tiny marbles. He almost laughed. It looked like the doctor's warning had come to life right there in front of him. Picking up a walnut, he turned it over between his fingers. He remembered reading years ago that walnuts were brain food. But Dr. Harris's words echoed in his head. Too much omega-6, too much inflammation for a man your age. Michael set the nut back down. His eyes shifted to the pistachios, bright green under their cracked shells. He loved them during football season, piling shells in a bowl while yelling at the TV. Yet now, the thought of them leaching minerals from his bones unsettled him. He rubbed his knee absent-mindedly, remembering the dull ache that had been bothering him after long walks. The macadamias felt like a betrayal. They were his treat at the office, rich, buttery, the kind of snack that made stressful afternoons feel lighter, but the saturated fat. He pictured his father's face in the hospital bed, tubes snaking around his chest after a heart attack. That image alone was enough to sour the taste. Michael sighed, sweeping the nuts back into the bag. The shiny label suddenly looked hollow. He wondered how many other healthy choices he'd been blindly trusting all these years. Just as Michael pushed the half-empty bag aside, footsteps creaked on the stairs. Linda appeared in her robe, hair a little wild, eyes still soft with sleep. She noticed the nuts on the table and raised an eyebrow. "Don't tell me you're starting breakfast with those again," she teased, pouring herself a glass of water. Michael chuckled nervously. "I might have been sabotaging myself all this time. Harris says half of these could do more harm than good." Linda opened the pantry, reaching for a glass jar she'd kept tucked on the top shelf. She set it down in front of him, almonds neatly roasted, their warm brown color catching the morning light. "These," she said with a small grin, "are the ones I've been telling you to eat. Heart-friendly, keep your sugar steady. But do you listen to me? No." Michael laughed, shaking his head. "So you've been one step ahead of me, huh?" "Always," Linda smirked, sliding a few almonds into his palm. He popped one into his mouth. Crunchy, earthy, satisfying, different from the rich butteriness of macadamias, but somehow more reassuring. Suddenly, the situation didn't feel so hopeless. There were still good choices left, just waiting for him to notice. Michael leaned back, feeling a small spark of relief. Maybe his doctor wasn't handing him a sentence, just a nudge in the right direction. And maybe, he thought, Linda had been that nudge all along. Michael rolled the almond between his fingers, then popped another into his mouth. The crunch lifted his mood more than the coffee had. Linda smiled, then reached back into the pantry. This time she pulled out a small brown paper bag. "Picked these up at Costco last week, Brazil nuts. Supposed to be good for your skin and memory," she said, handing it to him. Michael raised an eyebrow. "Memory, huh? Maybe that's why I keep forgetting where I left my glasses." They both laughed, but inside he thought about his father's fading memory in the last years. The idea of a food that might protect his mind gave him a quiet sense of hope. He tried one, rich, earthy, almost sweet, different but comforting. Next came cashews, buttery and smooth. Linda tossed him a handful. "These can help with blood sugar," she reminded. Michael smirked. "So you're saying I don't need to give up dessert entirely?" She shot him a playful look. "Don't push your luck." Finally, he spotted a jar of roasted peanuts on the shelf. The sight alone carried him back to summers at the ballpark, cheering with his kids, cracking shells while the crowd roared. Peanuts, simple, familiar, American as baseball itself. Michael chewed slowly, savoring the memory as much as the taste. For the first time that morning, the weight on his chest eased. Maybe the doctor's warning wasn't an ending after all, just a chance to rewrite the rules, one handful at a time. Later that afternoon, Michael sat on the porch, a small bowl of almonds at his side. The autumn sun dipped low, painting the neighborhood in soft gold. He dialed his old friend Jack, who answered with a tired laugh. "Doctor says I'm pre-diabetic," Jack admitted. "Guess I'll be joining you in the health club." Michael leaned back, the wooden chair creaking. "Then let me save you some trial and error. Ditch the macadamias and chestnuts and walnuts. Careful with those, but almonds, cashews, peanuts, they're on our side. Linda even found these Brazil nuts that are supposed to keep us sharp. I'll bring some next time we meet, Jack chuckled. Leave it to you to turn snack talk into a survival plan. As they hung up, Michael felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the fading sun. He wasn't just protecting his own future, he was helping someone else walk the same road. That realization filled him with quiet strength. He looked toward the camera, a half smile tugging at his face. Friends, it turns out the little choices matter. Even something as small as a handful of nuts can change the way we age. If this story gave you something to think about, give it a like, share it with someone you care about, and don't forget to subscribe for more ways to stay healthy and strong after 50. Small steps, big difference, let's take them together.